This week, I find out that I am a special kind of stupid. Stay tuned to find out why. Oh man, it is a blisteringly warm day today. Today's project is brought to you by Line & Kugel's Summer Shandy, a very delicious lemony flavoured beer. And I'd like to thank Line & Kugel's for their future sponsorship of our channel, being as how we just gave them a punt. What have we done? We drilled the holes, we've countersunk the holes because that will avoid any spider cracking coming off when we put the new fittings in. We've checked to make sure that our little epoxy cone thing worked and we can't see any wood and any of that stuff, which we can't, which is good. Did a dry fit, so we put the clutch on, made sure all of our holes lined up. We took our backing plate. We are going to put backing plates onto our hardware. We're going to do it properly. This is 1/8 inch aluminum plate, and so the way we're going to do it is we're going to have the bolt coming through from the top, then there'll be the deck, the backing plate, a big old fender washer, and a nylock nut. The most important thing to talk about is sealant and cork. Butyl tape. It's the best thing in the world. If you haven't discovered it, discover it and do it quickly. You'll love it. It lasts forever. I mean 30, 40 years before it fails. It's really super easy to work with, super easy to apply, and this is what we're going to use to bed down all of our deck hardware. Okay, so this is the base of our clutch bank. Now, the potential places for water intrusion into our deck are obviously going to be at the screw holes, and as you can see, the plastic casing has holes kind of in it, so we want to try and seal up as much as possible around the holes to stop water getting anywhere near those holes. And then we're also going to seal the bolts above and below the hole line, and hopefully then no water will get into it. And that little counter bore that we put on the hole that we made in the deck, that will fill up with the butyl tape and hopefully also improve our seal. If you've not worked with this stuff, it's just the best. It's just putty in a tape, and it's so easy to work with. You can kind of sight it off, measure it off, tear a little bit off like that. It breaks really easily. Take off the backing, and then we can just lay the tape. It sticks. It's super adhesive and sticky. I've got that sticky side down. You just lay it on there like that. It actually sticks both sides, so I don't know why I bothered doing that. And that will stick there and sit there. And when we tighten up our hardware and our fitting, the excess will just work its way out. Now, the really nice thing about this, and one of the things that I love about this stuff, is when the excess oozes its way out, it's really easy to clean up. You don't need any kind of solvent or anything like that to clean it up. You can just wipe it off with a little bit of itself, basically, and it cleans up really nicely. So we're just going to carry on. Bed those down nicely. Now, with our bolts, what we're going to do is take a little bit of the butyl tape. I'm going to roll it up into a kind of a sausage. It's like a Gordon Ramsay cooking show. And then we're going to wrap that butyl around the top of the underside. That's a bit much. Come here. Of the underside of the bolt, just like that. And then that is going to help to seat the bolt in the bolt hole. So we open up the clutch, put the wind's blowing the door. So that now has, if you look in, let's see if you can see in there, everything is backwards. There we go. So that bolt down there, you can maybe see if I can get this right. There we go. That bolt down there, you can see as I pull down, we'll get a little bit of butyl squeeze out, and that will now seal any water going down through there to the bolt. But now what we want to do is to take another little butyl sausage, and we want to wrap it around the inside of the bolt as well, because there's water that's going to infiltrate in there. So we're going to just squish that all the way in, hold the bolt, and just work that sausage all the way around, and squish it and squish it and squish it and squish it onto the bolt like that. Now no water should be able to get down there. So goes the theory. Just got to do that 6 more times now. There we go. By the magic of television, butyl taped up, little bungs all around the bottom of the screws, and now we can go and pop it in, and the butyl tape is going to seal everything up and hopefully work its way down into the screw holes, and we can get this guy bedded in. First piece. Very excited. There we go on the underside. Bolt's poking through, not too far, but obviously the clutch is still sitting up a little bit on the tape, so that's going to come down a bit when we bolt it down. So what we now need to do is to get a backing plate on here and some nuts, and then we can start to tighten everything down. Okay, so this is where I get a bit kind of all fingers and thumbs, because I need more fingers than I've got. But now we put the backing plate over.
Is there a way to charge a phone in here?
Try and get it up. There we go. And then we put a washer on there, like that. And then we're good. And then I can go charge Christina's phone.
No,
I'll be back.
Just saying if I... Oh.
Okay, so there we've got the backing plate with the washers and nuts on. Now we just got to tighten everything down, and one of the things about butyl tape is that you don't want to screw the bolts down, you want to tighten the nuts. So you just want to leave the bolts in the same orientation and just let it all kind of suck down. So that's what we're going to do next. So you can see all of the butyl has squeezed out, it's squeezed up into all of the splits. It's fabulous stuff. And then to clean it off, you don't need any solvents or anything like that. You just come on in and clean it off with itself and tidy it up. Fabulous stuff. And there is our single ready to go. So after a long day, cabin top winch, new clutches on that side, and then let's go forward. New deck organizer, still have to clean off the butyl tape from that. Same again on the other side, and over here under the wires, new post mount for the blocks, and I can put 4 on there, and on the other side of the boat the same thing, new post mount there. And all I've got to do is clean off the excess butyl tape and the squeeze out from around the bottom, and then mount the blocks to the posts. These little clips stop the posts from falling out, and they've got the washers mounted to those, so I can mount my blocks. There'll be 4 blocks mounted just like this guy, and then those will go to deck organizer. Obviously on the deck organizer we will clean off all of the excess butyl tape here, which is really easy to do, and then that will run back to the new clutches. We've got a couple of bits and bobs just to figure out over here, underside of the mast, but in general we're done. So the other thing we've got to do is put back the headliner. That's a question for the hive mind, but we will talk about that one another time. It's late, sun's already diving down behind the buildings, so we're going to call it a night tonight. Good night, folks. So to complete the installation, once we pull off the excess tape, we just onto each one of the 4 posts we put a block. They stand up and swivel, and now we can run our lines down to our blocks, which will then run down to the deck organizer, and then that in turn will run down the deck to the clutches and to the winches. So now the only thing left to do is to start rerunning the lines. I have never seen this before, but apparently these clutches open in the reverse to everything else. So now the line is running through this. If I want to pull it this way, I can't. It's locked in the clutch. If I want to pull it that way, it is flowing freely. So apparently, and I'm not quite sure how, I've put these the wrong way around. Huh. Good. Okay, so I guess we better change that. It's hot. I'm sweaty. Wasn't planning on doing this much work today, but never mind. 2 things. 1, thank God I didn't use 5200 to bed these things down, because if I did, I would be properly SOL. And second, I am a special kind of idiot, because on the clutches there's a handy dandy little sign with a big arrow that says this way to the winch. So that's the way they should have been aiming at the winch, not as I had originally installed them, this way, going to the winch. Always read the label. Well, after a bit of sweat, a bit of grunting, a lot of swearing, and a couple of beers, we've got everything mounted the right way now. So hopefully this will work. So let's try running these lines again. acid test. Shut the clutch, pull it tight, and it doesn't spring back. You can get some proper tension on that, and it doesn't spring back. Open it and it springs. So now our clutches are run in the right orientation. Thanks very much for watching. If you like the video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment about what we're doing. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. But you've got to tell us why in the comments. Subscribe for updates and follow us at sailing_moneypenny on Instagram.